Hello, and welcome to this presentation on interpreting the vertical scaled score for Spring Standards of Learning (SOL) assessments. We will provide a short overview of the Reading and Mathematics SOL assessments, share some information on the vertical scaled scores earned on these tests in Spring 2023, and make recommendations on how to use the data that you have received. The online SOL tests are computer adaptive tests that are longer than the growth assessments which were administered in the fall and winter. The SOL test consists of test questions that address the skills and content that children were taught during the current school year. Also, the online computer adaptive SOL test have 5 to 6 additional test questions at the end of the test. These additional questions could be on grade level, 1 grade level above, or 1 grade level below your child's current grade level, depending on how your child answered questions on the test. The SOL assessments are given at the end of the school year. They provide information about your child's knowledge of current grade level content and skills at the end of the school year. The tests provide a passing or failing score called a test scaled score. A 400 or above is considered passing or proficient in the grade level skills and content. A 500 or above is considered advanced in the grade level skills and content. Scores below 400 are considered failing or not proficient in the grade level skills and content. The SOL tests provide data that teachers may use with other information at the school to guide classroom instruction, as well as information on how to meet the needs of individual students. A new resource has been developed for parents. The title of this resource is Vertical Scaled Scores, Spring 2023 Standards of Learning Test. It shows 4 ranges of vertical scaled scores from the Spring 2023 SOL test. These score ranges are called quartile ranges. They provide information about your child's score in relation to the scores of all other children that took the same test. Let's look at an example to show what we mean by quartile and quartile ranges. The graphic on screen is a scale, and it is an example from an SOL test. This scale has all of the vertical scaled scores of all children in Virginia who took this same test. The scale starts with the lowest vertical scaled score and ends with the highest vertical scaled score on each test. There is also a middle point. We have broken this scale out into 4 different score ranges. There is the lowest score range, the lowest 25%, a middle score range, which is 50% of the scores, and the highest score range, which is the highest scores, the top 25% across the state on this test. And your child scored in one of these 4 quartile ranges. The image on the screen indicates an arrow pointing to range 2. This is a picture of the score ranges from the grade 3 reading test. These ranges include all of the test scores from all Virginia children who took the grade 3 reading SOL test. Notice there are 4 score ranges. Within each range, there is a 3 or 4-digit vertical scaled score. Your child's vertical scaled score will be in one of these ranges. If your child has a vertical scaled score in range 1, this means your child has a score lower than 75% of all test scores of students who took the same test. I do want to share that score ranges called quartile ranges are different from percentages. Here are a few examples to show how they are different. If a student answers 75 out of 100 questions correctly, the student has a percentage of 75% of the items correct. Another example is if a student answers 30 out of 40 questions correct, the student has a percentage of 75%. Now, let's think about a percentile, because percentiles are used on the resource document that is being provided, which I referenced earlier in this video. Instead of talking about the number correct or the number of answers correct, a percentile shows how a child's score compares to all of the other children's scores on the same test. When looking at the full range of scores for a test, we have the example of a child who scored higher than 75% of all of the children, meaning the child scores at the 75th percentile. Scoring at the 75th percentile does not mean that they have a percentage of 75% correct. If a child scored in the lowest score range shown on the resource document, it means the child's score was in the range of scores that were in the lowest 25% of scores on the test. The test information is the most helpful information for you and for your child's teacher. This is provided in the Student Detail by Question SDBQ report. You can find this report in the parent portal, or you may receive it from your child's school. This report lists all of the content and skills included in each test question your child answered on the SOL test. It also shows whether the answer was correct or incorrect. You can look at the reports from fall, winter, and spring and compare them to determine how much your child progressed throughout the school year. Did your child have incorrect answers on the same content and skills on all 3 tests? Having a conversation with your child's teacher may provide additional ideas about how you can best support your child's learning. If your child had a vertical scale score in score range 1 or 2 on the winter 2022 growth assessment and showed no improvement in their vertical scaled score on the spring 2023 SOL test, they may benefit from additional support. Consult your child's teacher for specific resources or strategies to support your child's learning in the subject. If your child had a vertical scale score in range 3 or 4 on the winter 2022 growth assessment and a vertical scaled score in range 3 or 4 on the spring 2023 SOL test, your child performed well on the skills and content received on their test as compared to other children. A lack of improvement for your child from the growth assessment to the SOL test should not alone be a cause for concern. If your child's vertical scale score in range 3 or 4 decreased, it is possible there were not test items available that targeted your child's specific ability level. The Virginia Department of Education is continuing to develop items at different levels of difficulty to provide a wide range of test items. These children should continue to be challenged to make connections between concepts and advance their learning. For information regarding Virginia state assessments and state assessment reports, please contact the Office of Student Assessment at the email address or telephone number shown on your screen.